talked about it in the preseason. You put the schedule together because you wanted to see teams that you might see in the postseason. You guys are here now. You're hosting. How does it feel to have all that validated and see this team reap the rewards?
Yeah, just thankful. When it's one thing to put a schedule together, and we put together the hardest one, right? And our conference schedule is our conference schedule, but if you look at our non-conference schedule as well, I think it's top 10. So it's one thing to put it together, but it's a whole nother thing to go out and execute your schedule. And that's why I'm so thankful of our team, what they've been able to do. Really thankful for Mitch Barnhart. You just heard Devin talk about, and I've said it all year long, and you guys probably be like, Coach Minge, you're like a broken record. You keep saying the same things. But this team just wants to win, and it started with Mitch Barnhart's message at our team at the beginning of the year, and he just challenged us to win for Kentucky. And that's what this team has done. That's what they've been committed to doing. That's what they've continued to do. And I'm thankful that they're going to get this opportunity to play in the first regional here at Kentucky Proud Park. And, that's why you invest $49 million into this beautiful stadium, is to host postseason events. And thankful for our fans that have showed up, all year long. Especially thankful for all the former players and that put on this jersey, and our staff, even former coaches and staff members. There's just a lot that goes into this, this, but to be a top 16 team, that didn't happen overnight. There's been a lot of people that have invested a lot of time and effort and energy, and thankful for those former players, and I'm especially thankful for my wife. Man, it's been too long since we've done this again, but she is the standard of what a wife is supposed to be like. So you can't do it without a great coach's wife. So,
Nick, how are the emotions different this time than the first time? It was your first season. You all had so much success right off the bat. You had to work to get back here, obviously.
Yeah, someone asked Thomas Edison one time what it felt like to fail 10,000 times when he was trying to invent the light bulb, and his answer was, I never failed one time. It just happened to be a 10,000 step process. And that's how I feel about here. The first year of that team, they've already texted me. They've reached out. That team, they're fired up. But it's just been a process. We've been close. I talked about that in media day. I wanted it so bad for those other teams. 2 out of the last 3 years, we've been 1 or 2 wins away, and we haven't been able to get over the hump. And I put a lot of that on me. To try to put them in a better position with the schedule, and ultimately you have to go out and execute it, and this team has done that, But just thankful for all those people, but it does seem like it's been a little while, But same time, anytime you can get your team in the postseason, whether it's hosting or not, I think you saw that last year with Ole Miss. Our 9th place team in our league wins the whole thing, and that's the power of our conference. So.
Nick, did you watch as they were kind of revealing the whole field? Or
we did. We were down there as a team. We watched as a team.
Not just your SEC teams who were expected to be in it, but they're just rattling off team after team that you've already seen. And
yes.
Well, how did that make you feel about in the scope of the scheduling that you talked about?
Yes, and what's interesting about the schedule is you just never know how a team's going to be every year. It's just so difficult. To put a quality team on the field every single year. We've had amazing people, but there's some teams that we've just fallen a little short. So even when you schedule teams, you're just hoping, right? I hope you appreciate my transparency. You're like, man, I hope they're going to be good this year, right? And then you can go by track record and everything else. But, I think if you were to ask any coach, even at the beginning of the fall, we have no idea how we're going to be. We think we know, but until you get out there and actually watch your team, you just don't know. And it's worked out well, and obviously, our strength of schedule is one of the main reasons why we're in this position, and placed a lot of really good teams. And that's one of the things about our league is our guys are battle tested, and it's why they've done so well in the postseason. When you look at some of the teams in the postseason in our league, because every weekend feels like a super regional.
Obviously, you guys scout, but how do you feel about your draw? How do you feel about 3 teams coming in town?
This time of year, you guys know this, all the teams are good. Like Ball State, they're on fire. They just won their tournament. Had a huge clutch home run. They won 35 games. You win 35 games in college baseball, you're doing something good, right? And then you sit there and you look at West Virginia. There's still 122 bases. 2 weeks ago, they're in talk of a national seed, right? So they're clearly a host-worthy team. And then obviously Indiana, they won over 40 games. You do that in college baseball, you got a special team. So definitely a difficult regional, and one that'll be definitely a challenge for us.
Have you thought more about the starting pitching? I know that's a conundrum with a lot of teams and how they want to operate that. Just have you thought any?
Yeah, we've thought a lot about it. Obviously, we'll go back and we'll look and kind of evaluate strengths and weaknesses of each team. We threw some guys last weekend where we feel good about if they throw on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, however we line them up, they're in a good position. That was one of the benefits of coming home a little early from the SEC tournament is, we've been able to let guys get rested, but also practice really hard. And we've practiced really hard over the weekend. Going to have a great practice today, but we'll look at it and evaluate and try to match up who might do best versus who.
They decided after the loss in Hoover that they were just going to take the week to just rest, right? Get in the gym a little bit. What have you seen out of your team through this last week leading up to a long layoff until you guys play on the ground?
We've practiced really hard. The times that they've been out here, we have not given any days away. They've competed especially hard. They've practiced hard. I give a lot of credit. I mean, we played 8 innings on Friday, 7 innings on Saturday, and they've gotten after it. I walked over to some of our staff members. It was in the 8th inning of the Friday game, and I'm like, these guys, they're unbelievable. You would think that this was a Friday night SEC game. We put them in separate dugouts, and they're getting after it. And I remember coming home telling Kristen, she had practice go. I was like, amazing. And I'm like, these guys, they just compete and they want to win. And it's one of their greatest strengths. They have a lot, but their desire to win that dominates is pretty special. And they've practiced hard. We've gotten rest too. Played some paintball yesterday. I think they love that. We threw them. I was like, hey, what do you guys want to do? Let's do something. And they're like, Coach, we want to go paintball. And I'm like, sure, you guys want to compete. Of course you do. Yeah, so that's what we did yesterday. And they got after it and had a good time. And special group.
Does that attitude make it easier not to worry about, when a team breaks through a barrier for the first time, sometimes you worry they're just happy to be there and then not taking the next step. But it sounds like that's not a concern with these guys. No, they are a group that, they love being around each other. We gave them a couple options where you go. There was one place that was a little closer and a little further. No, this one looks harder. We want to do that. I'm like, okay. They want to go that one. They just love being around each other, and they're mature. We've had a lot of guys that played a lot of college baseball, and Darren was one of them. And they're just a very mature group. I mean, it's been obvious from what they've done in the classroom, off the field. It's been a team that wants to win, but super mature, very mature.
Being in these situations all year with a mature group, on the road this weekend, you get to have the high pressure situations at home. So just how much of an advantage, having experience in the regional, hosting it, does that give you?
I tell them all the time that our team, there's no secret that I think we've had one guy maybe that's played in the postseason before. And that doesn't bother me one bit. The way they've attacked our schedule, the road series, the opponents at home on the road, they give me a lot of peace. And they've been really good at, and I've said this a lot, but they've been really good at just focusing what's in front of them at that moment. They've been really, really good at that. And, that's how you peel off 17 games in a row, right? There's a lot of guys that made a lot of sacrifices. It's a very selfless team. But they're able to do that because they don't have personal agendas. It's all about Kentucky. And when you have that type of maturity and that type of a group, they can stay focused on the task at hand. Yeah.
Do you have a point of emphasis or anything you'd like to see kind of cleaned up going into this first game that you've talked about in recent games and weeks?
Yeah, there's been times where, on the pitching staff, we haven't gone on the attack enough and maybe not thrown as many strikes. There's been times where we've hit too many routine fly balls. There's been time, but this team, it's really interesting. You ask them, hey, look, we need to do this, and they make a conscious effort to fix it like that. There hasn't been a ton, but we're at our best when we're attacking on the mound. It starts with our guys there. We're creating line drives, ground balls, creating all kinds of pressure for our opponents. We're stealing bases, we're bunting. That's us at our best. When we're not at our best, we're tentative, we're hitting routine fly balls, we're nibbling around the strike zone, but we're at our best when we're attacking.
These other schools travel well, and of course, all within driving distance. But talk about what conversations you have about really using that crowd to your advantage again, and also when you have a regional. It's also even trying to find a way to weasel out just the other fans from other schools who are here. What are those conversations like about using the crowd to your advantage?
Yeah. So, one thing, I'm just so thankful for our fans, they've come out. And I told our team at the beginning of the year, you got to have two things. Number one, you got to be winning, right? But you also got to have good weather. And then our administration added a third one. They were like, Coach, they added beer. So it's like, those three things that give people an opportunity to come out. And our fans have they have rallied behind our guys, and they make a huge difference. And, we have an opportunity to create a home field advantage. So other teams travel well, but I know they'll be loud and they'll bring it. But, when we opened up at LSU, I apologized to our team after that first game, and I just told them, I said, hey, there was nothing I can do that prepare you to have 13,000 people root against you. I'm sorry, I did a bad job. I didn't know how to create that for you. So, having played in environments like that can only make our team stronger.
Nick, the narrative with this team is that they play small ball, they do attack well, but the reality is they're a pretty good hitting team. There's some good pitching in there too. How important is it not to lose sight of that fact?
Yes, I brought this attention to our team's attention. We bunted. The amount of times we bunt is such a small percentage when you think about how many of the at-bats we actually have. When you think about how many plate appearances we have, how many times we actually bunt, it is so small. But John, you bring up a good point. Matt put together some information here, and I want to make sure I say this right. We in SEC play, we led the SEC in batting average. We were second in on-base percentage, right? We were first in doubles, first in triples, second in HBPs, first in stolen bases. We were top 5 in ERA, batting average against, hits allowed, runs allowed, all that. You know what I mean? But that's all what goes into. And we're not the only SEC team. There's a lot of teams that have done a lot of those type things. You know what I mean? But this time of year, a lot of teams in the field, you have to have a well-rounded team, or else you don't get a chance to play here, this late in the year. And our guys have done that.
If you should happen to face West Virginia at some point in this, how much chaos what you predicted?
Man, how about that?
What we have.
That sounds like, and I got to do more research, but it sounds like two teams that are trying to do a lot of the same things, So obviously a super talented team they are, a team well coached. But it sounds like they're trying to do some of the same things we are, So that would be an interesting matchup for sure.
You mentioned earlier when you got here that your favorite thing is dog piles.
Oh.
And you saw the historic dog pile in 2017. You talked a lot about the players, but for yourself, not in a selfish way, but what would that mean to you to witness that again? Because guys came over to you and told you how much they loved you and just couldn't stop celebrating.
Yesterday, Coach Ammirati and I, we got back from paintball last night, and we were in my office, and I pulled up on the ESPN app to see some scores, and I saw the Alabama softball game, and we were working on practice, finalizing some of the details, and I said, hey, Ammo, let's watch this. And he's like, what? I'm like, there's about to be a dog pile. And I'm like, I just reminded him, I was like, Ammo, this is my favorite thing on the field to do. It is my absolute 100% favorite thing to do is just to be able to sit back and watch our guys celebrate, because the amount of time and effort they put in the classroom, off the field, all of that, it's just unbelievable. And so we sat there and we paused everything, and Montana Phelps went down to a knee because of her brace and all that, and it was kind of like a dog pile, you know what I mean? But I paused everything just because I love watching people celebrate and just see the raw joy emotion where they just let themselves go and they're totally vulnerable. And that is my favorite thing to do on a baseball field. And God willing, we'll have a chance to do that. We've put ourselves in a position, now we just got to go and execute.
The guys have said that you're the same during good times and bad times, but professionally speaking, this has to be validating for you. What a difference a year or two makes, huh?
Yeah, we talk to them all the time. I really appreciate them saying that, but they probably didn't see me get mad at the umpire or something. But, I just think it's really important, to been through a lot. We all have. Personally, professionally, we all have our stories, right? If anybody acts like life's been easy and it's been a cakewalk, I think we're lying. But, just to be at a place that I love, to be under a boss like Mitch, that is just super supportive, and to have my wife, coaches, families, players, this league it's not easy, right? I want you to think about the last two teams that have won a national championship. They didn't make the conference tournament. Like, this is fragile. This is not, you know, and that's what I love about it. I've been doing this for 17 years. So I've been at the very top and I've been all the way at the bottom. And it's a really challenging thing, but that's what makes the beauty of it. For times like this, to watch the guys see their name up there and just be excited. And, you know, after practice, they'll have all their families and their friends. And it's like, they deserve that. You know what I mean? They deserve that. The staff members, they deserve it. The former players, they deserve to say, man, Kentucky, like, we're in the postseason, you go to the games, like, you know, just because there's been a lot of time and effort and resources, and people just put a lot into this program. And, you know, it's been, you know, kind of crazy to think, you know, 2006, when I first rolled up here in the summer of 05, that first year we hosted, and then we went a pretty good stretch, and then we were able to do it in 17 and now again. And anybody that tells you it's easy, it's not. So, you know, I'll take 5 minutes tonight and went for a walk with Kristen. Got emotional, but it was awesome, awesome. A lot of people deserve a lot of credit, so thankful.
When Mitch said, just win for Kentucky, I mean, do you think he was talking to you as a coach also? How did that play in your mind?
You talk to everybody. Like, you know this. Like, you know this as well as anyone, John. When you don't make it about yourself and you literally show up every day and just try to serve, whether it's your teammates, your players, your coaches, your staff members, your families, your whoever, when you don't make it about you, it is so much more rewarding. The second we try to make it about us and do it, that is a trap. That is a trap, and it leads to a road of sadness, failure. It's not healthy. And that's the thing. You know, Mitch is doing this a long time. That was his message to all the teams. Like, make it about Kentucky. It is so much better when you take the emphasis off yourself, and it should just be freeing. Like, you can take off the shackles and just go for it. Like, you know, so Mitch called me after it was announced last night, and I just thanked him. I just said, Mitch, you've paid a lot of money for this facility. You've put a lot of money into this program. Like, Mitch, you deserve this. And he's like, no, Nick, it's about to come. I'm so excited for our guys. I'm so excited for all the fun. And I'm like, no, Mitch, like, please, like, you've done a lot. Like, this is why you've done this. This is why, like, to have opportunities like this. He's, I know, I'm just so proud of the guys. And, you know, like, he's doing exactly what you're supposed to. He's not making it about him, but I'm like, no, it is. Like, enjoy it, you know, but just thankful. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, man.